So today, once again, it's time for some science. I went online and I input every single college football team into a random generator, as today we are conducting a science experiment and we have randomized every single conference across college football. We're gonna see what the heck happens with the college football world completely randomized, everything thrown out the window. How is that gonna affect the sport? And I already freaking know what all the comments are gonna say. Where are the rejects? Just be patient. Hopefully there'll be an episode out later today. And I know you're tired of excuses, but I'm not even joking. I am getting sick. I think I'm getting strep throat. So I'm not gonna front. I'm recording this Friday night. If I wake up Saturday morning and I'm sick and it's worse, I'm not recording an episode of the rejects, not doing it. I'm gonna rest. So if you don't see an episode out later today, that's why. And it's just, it is what it is. You get mad. But in the meantime, hopefully you guys do enjoy today's video. It is going to be wild. Smash a like if you do enjoy these experiments. Subscribe if you are new. Turn on the notification bell if you haven't. Also, you have five more days left to enter the Instagram giveaway for the 2 Xbox One X's and 2 PS4 Pros. You have to go over to my Instagram, find the post, and you just enter it. It's simple. Link in the description box below. With that said, let's say hello to SeatGeek. Guys, I would like to give a massive shout out to my boys at SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. SeatGeek is the #1 app when it comes to getting the best ticket for the best prices to any sporting event you want out there. And there's a lot more than just sporting event tickets you can get on this app. You can get comedy show tickets, Broadway tickets, music festival tickets, and a lot more. I am going to leave a download link to SeatGeek at the top of the description box below. Go over it, download the app, no reason not to. And once you go and download the app, you can use the code RBT to get $20 off your first purchase. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty good freaking deal. So make sure you use that code RBT. And once again, thanks so much to the guys over at SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video. Awesome company. With that said, let's get into the rest of the video. Now, first bit of business is to go over the conferences. Once again, they're completely random, so I think there might be some teams still in their original conference. Some conferences are more overpowered than others. You'll just see as we go over them. And it'll all make sense at the end. So we're going to go over the conferences to start with the SEC. It's a pretty, I mean, obviously it's not as tough as it was previously, but some big teams in there. Just so happened that Washington and Washington State ended up in the same division, the SEC East, and Michigan and Oklahoma in the SEC West. I think actually what's going to happen with all the group of 5 conference teams being spread out into conferences with good teams, I think you're actually going to see the better teams have better records. And moving on to the Sun Belt. So it's actually one of the better conferences. And you'll also notice that every single conference will have a conference championship game with 2 divisions. I didn't rename the divisions because that would just be annoying. But in one division, we have Ohio State, Texas. Yes, that's a disgusting division. That might be the toughest division in all of college football. On the other side, it's definitely top heavy with Florida and Mississippi State. Some other, decent teams scattered through there. Moving on now to the ACC. And this one ended up being one of the weaker ones. Still have an original ACC team in Virginia. Best team in the conference ranked-wise is West Virginia at 16. It's only one ranked team in the ACC. So this is one of the conferences that got a lot worse. So I have to see if one of these lower-tier teams can come up, reign victorious, and win the division and surprise some people. Now the American Conference. This one is decent, has some decent teams scattered through there, like Missouri, Oregon State, and Wisconsin in one division. On the other side, you have Florida State, Nebraska, Texas Tech with some other teams scattered in. Now to the Big 12. This one, it's okay. You got LSU, North Carolina, Fresno State, Stanford, Cincinnati. So more than likely, the Division B winner here is going to win this conference. But you never know. Now into the Big 10. In the first division, Georgia, Syracuse, Miami, USC. So some good teams there. Poor Georgia State and Rice really don't have a chance. On the other side, some pretty good teams as well. Yeah, BYU, Iowa State, NC State, Texas A&M. But once again, I'm expecting probably Georgia to win the Big 10. Now in the CUSA, it's okay. A lot of these conferences are kind of watered down with all the teams scattered through, like all the mid-tier teams. We'll just have to see if some of the mid-tier teams can just end up surprising us. But in one division, you have Clemson, Michigan State, Vandy, Virginia Tech, and Indiana. So 5 out of these 6 teams are from Power 5 conferences. On the flip side, you have Hawaii, Kansas, and Penn State. So I'm expecting Penn State to win that division. Now, the only independent team is Old Dominion, because at this point in NCAA, I think they're the newest added team. And you have to have at least one team as an independent. Since they're the only team not in a conference, I'm probably going to use them for the experiment, not to mess anything up. But now into the MEC, a few conferences to go. There's the big boys, Alabama. And Alabama, they don't really have much competition here. Now to the Mountain West, we have Notre Dame, and Ole Miss in the division. Also, Arizona, don't want to overlook them. On the West, Baylor, Arkansas, and Wake Forest coming from Power 5 conferences. This one probably easily should go to Notre Dame. Now, on the Pac-12, this is probably the second or third toughest conference across college football. Auburn and Kentucky and Maryland in the north, and my boys, South Alabama on the south side. Boise State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Iowa, and UCF. See if UCF, who has a fair chance now, can actually make it into a huge bowl game that they've been asking for so long. Now, you guys might be asking, how is this going to be fair? Like Alabama, how are they going to get a shot when they're in the MAC and so on and so forth? That's because what we have done is we have eliminated every single automatic bowl tie-in for all the big BCS bowls. So every single conference pretty much at this point has an equal shot to make it to a big-time bowl game. Now, I think what we are going to do is we're going to do 2 seasons. One, see how crazy things go, and then also I want to see like how the recruiting classes go with some teams in different conferences, see if that helps them recruiting-wise. And since we're the only independent team, I want to have as little effect as possible on the rest of the experiment. So I pretty much went through and scheduled as many FCS games as possible, and we only have 11 games, so we shouldn't be getting ranked high if we win every game. Now, the thing I'm not looking forward to is how long it takes for this game to sim. I think it takes like 20 to 30 minutes to sim a whole entire season, so I'm going to be sitting here for a long time. So the first thing I have noticed off the bat, number one, this is the most updated roster you can possibly get, so it's like real life rosters here. But I went to the Heisman watch before we started to sim the season, and dog, who are these people? So it looks like we've already broke the game. Like, look at these first team All-Americans. Like, this is obviously preseason All-Americans. I legit about fell asleep. That was a long time. Well, there's your Heisman winner, at least it's somebody we know. Damian Harris from the University of Alabama, senior running back, big season, won the Heisman. Michigan's running back always gets love in all these simulations. Bryce Love in third, Trace McSorley. You guys are familiar with my Dynasty series, familiar with him. He came in fourth. So no matter what I go to first, something's going to get spoiled. We'll just go ahead and look at the top 25 poll. Screw it. And, wow, Michigan goes undefeated in the SEC, which was a pretty tough conference. And they're going to be taking on, looks like, Penn State out of the CUSA in the national championship game. Now, remember, no playoffs back in NCAA Football 14. Poor freaking Oregon. They got jumped by Penn State. Penn State jumped 2 spots to beat Oregon, so poor Oregon didn't make the national championship game out of the Sun Belt. Texas came in 4th, so a Sun Belt team came in 3rd and 4th in the final top 25 poll. Things are already crazy. Missouri finishing the regular season at number 5. NC State, that's a shocker, out of the Big Ten, comes in at number 6. Let's see if we see any real shockers. Houston kind of high out of the Big 12 at 13. Utah doing good. Alabama had 3 losses out of the MAC. Ohio State in the Sun Belt loses 4 games. Purdue, that's probably the biggest shock out of the MAC, goes 10-2, yet they're still ranked behind like Ohio State and such. And rounding out the top 25, we have TCU. Now, I think there might be only a handful of Group of 5 originals ranked in the final top 25 poll. I think Houston might actually be the only one. So it looks like the big dogs, no matter what, actually reign supreme. Hold on a second. Did we not make a bowl game? Poor freaking Old Dominion. We won 8 games and still don't make a bowl. So all the conference championship games, I wanted to see if any like Group of 5 team made it to their conference championship game. Penn State beat Clemson out of the CUSA. You had Oregon beat Mississippi State. Michigan beat Washington in the SEC championship game by just a little bit. Missouri over Florida State out of the American Conference in overtime. And Ole Miss beat Arkansas out of the Mountain West. Auburn over Iowa out of the Pac-12. Cal over Tulsa. So that's so far. Looks like there was 2 Group of 5 teams that made their conference championship game. And that's Tulsa out of the ACC, lost only by 3 to Cal. Don't know how they won 10 games and they aren't even ranked in the top 25 poll. And Houston lost to Stanford. Now that's a wild one. That's an absolute freaking wild one. Never in my days have I seen a team go 5-8 and make it to their conference championship game. I immediately want to go to the MAC. How did that happen? How did we get here? Look at these teams. Poor UTEP. As you guys know, or may or may not know, my Dynasty series, this is who we have now. This is who we're the head coach of, the UTEP Miners. Shows you how much of a rebuilding project they have. Poor freaking UTEP going 1-11. But I've never seen such. Quickly, just gonna kind of scan and like see if we see any shockers. Like you're gonna see a lot of these teams like Idaho when they get mixed into a pretty good conference do awful like this 1-11. Pac-12 North Auburn destroyed it. My boys in South Alabama not dead last. That's actually kind of a shocker. Ohio finishing above like Maryland and Kentucky. Guys, look at this one. UCF goes 5-7. And what is more than like it's not an overly tough conference. Washington State, who did incredible in real life, goes 3-9. Kansas State in second. That's a pretty good division too, to be fair. SEC West, Georgia Tech in second. SMU bad. Oklahoma lost 5 games, so that's a shocker. Out of the Sun Belt, that's a pretty good division. Northwestern did awful, 4-8. But Oregon and Texas both destroyed that division. Ohio State doing awful. Mississippi State winning that one. Navy in second over Florida. That's a shocker. But one thing I am interested in is to see how the BCS Bowls ended up when like there's no automatic bowl tie-ins. It's all technically like at-large bids. At this point, the Rose Bowl still has Washington, which is the former Pac-12 team, against West Virginia. That's a good game. Texas A&M versus Stanford. Texas versus NC State. Oregon versus Missouri. That's a solid game. 2 one-loss squads. Cotton Bowl, not a BCS Bowl in this game. But anyways, that's a pretty big game. Oklahoma versus Houston. That's actually hilarious. That's actually phenomenal. This bowl game was actually in my hometown. I think it changed names now. But Alabama versus Ohio State in the GoDaddy Bowl. But anyways, national championship. Penn State versus Michigan. Now bowl results. Let's see who came out on top. These games, you guys can see the scores, but I'm worried about the big ones. Rose Bowl, West Virginia with the win over Washington by 5. A&M barely squeaks out a win over Stanford in the Fiesta Bowl. Sugar Bowl. Ooh, that was another close one. All these freaking awesome games. Texas 34-32 over NC State. Oregon loses by 7 to Missouri. So Missouri had a huge season. Oklahoma beat Houston in the Cotton Bowl. The GoDaddy Bowl, I still can't get over that one. Last but not least, the national championship game. We have Michigan getting the win and finishing a perfect season, 14-0 over Penn State, 28-17. So National Signing Day, just gonna look at the top classes. We finished 113, let's go. Now, little shocker, Arkansas all the way down at 112. The worst class in college football ends up going to Wake Forest. So that's a former like Power 5 team technically. Looking at some of the top classes, just like want to look, see if there's anything crazy out of the top 10. And we have Alabama, of course, was the #1 recruiting class. So once again, no huge changes in terms of recruiting classes. Navy signs a 5-star out of the Sun Belt. Now that's a shocker. So nothing crazy, like way too high up there, but Navy at 12. Never seen anything like that one. Syracuse at 14, that's a shocker. Although they did go 3-9, Florida Internati comes in at 24. Now that's definitely a shocker. Shocker! Shocker! If I say shocker one more time. We do want to see the top 100. Where did the top recruit go? Virginia. Now that's abnormal. Where's that 5-star Navy sign? Bo Thomas. Bo the man. And I guess now we'll go ahead and sim all the way to the bowl season of next year and once again see if anything happens in year 2. So I'm now 30 minutes older and here we are again. Crazy enough. Back-to-back Alabama running backs win the Heisman. Najee Harris coming and scared the crap out of me. And once again, I think we're going to jump right into this top 25 poll and see who did the thing. Notre Dame this time. Going 13-0, winning the Mountain West Conference. It looks like it's gonna be Notre Dame versus Washington for that national championship game. Oklahoma, that's a lot better than they did last year. They came in 3rd place. Alabama in 4th out of the MAC. Full 9 across the board, couldn't get it done. Michigan almost went back-to-back. They dropped from 2 to 5. They lost to Washington in the SEC title game. So Iowa up all the way at 8 is kind of crazy. Auburn at 10, San Diego State. And aside from that, nothing else too crazy in the top 25. Once again, gonna go division by division and see if there's any crazy records out there. San Diego State, that's just crazy. They didn't even win their own division though. Tulsa and San Diego State running that ACC Atlantic division. In the Coastal, Cal topped it. West Virginia 2nd. UConn, oh that's bad. In the American Conference, Missouri once again winning that division. They didn't win the conference this year. In the other side of the American, Florida State finally making a name for themselves at 12-1. Nebraska in 2nd, Texas Tech in 3rd, Arkansas State poor Red Wolves. Big 12 division, New Mexico State coming out on top. LSU won to the other side. They probably, I guess, won the conference. Stanford in second. North Carolina, that's pretty bad. Georgia wins the Big Ten Leaders Division. USC in second. Rice not doing the greatest. Other side, Texas A&M winning the side. 11-2. BYU, that rhymed. CUSA, Michigan State wins the division. UMass, another team not winning the game. Vandy doing awful. Clemson not doing that good either. Now in the West, Penn State winning it. They only lost one game yet. They're 10th. They had some pretty good competition. Utah and Purdue having some good records. Tennessee fell off. Same record as Two Freaking Lane. Mountain West Conference, Notre Dame went undefeated. Arizona in second. Ole Miss having a bad year. Other side, Arkansas winning that division. Nevada not doing so hot. Couple more conferences to go. Auburn wins the Pac-12 North. I'm sad as an alumni. I am disappointed. Other side of the Pac-12, Iowa winning that. UCF having a little bit better of a year this time around. Boise State still just doing awful. Second straight year they came in dead last. SEC, as you see, Washington wins the division. Washington State still struggling. SEC West, Michigan wins it. Last but not least is Sun Belt, Ohio State doing a lot better this year because they're freaking 99 across the board. They won the Division A, Texas in second this time. Northwestern having another bad year. Division B, Mississippi State still once again wins the division, going 6-7. That's just wild. So last but not least, and it's on to editing this video. Then time to go to sleep after that and wake up sick as a dog. Just how my life is. I mean, who really cares, right? It's all about the rejects. Looking at these bowl games to finish off the video, all we care about is the big time bowls. Getting to the BCS bowls, Alabama beats Oklahoma. Maybe what we're going to see upcoming in the college football playoff. Iowa beats A&M. Oh no, Texas A&M beats Iowa by 1 in the Fiesta Bowl. These games have been crazy. Sugar Bowl, Penn State by 3 over Auburn. So at least we're getting a lot of really cool bowl games and close ones. Ohio State throttles Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Cotton Bowl, LSU beats SMU. And to finish things off, your national champion in year 2 of college football being completely randomized is Washington over Notre Dame in a blowout, 38-13. Once again, Notre Dame really can't win the big game, but Washington finishes the year 13-1 as your national champions, as Notre Dame can't run the table, go 14-0 like Michigan did last year. But guys, that is going to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like. If you have any more ideas like this, let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe if you're new. Peace.